What is going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. This is Pure Noble. I'm going to be talking about Warzone Season 6. Now, uh, I'm going to have to backpedal on what I said because if you follow me on TikTok, if you follow me on Instagram, you're going to see my short form content, me roasting the crap out of Season 6. Like, to be honest, when you look at Season 6 roadmap, it was honestly pretty stale because if you look at the overall picture of the season 6 roadmap and what the amount of content that is actually being brought to season 6 was very night and day compared to the previous seasons that we had before. I mean, look at the new maps that was considered in multiplayer. 6 new maps. No, not necessarily. We have 1 new map and 5 variants of an existing map. Now, mind you, who needs 5 variants of shipment? So I'm not going to backpedal on that. I still think it's kind of ridiculous to have 5 reskins of shipment. Like, yes, I know shipment is a popular map. I know it's great to farm weapons, to farm camos, to farm level experience, all of that. But really, guys, really, I feel like the fact that you're reskinning an existing model of a map is such a lazy way in regards to map development and game development. It almost seems like, oh, we're coming to the end of Modern Warfare 3's game cycle. Let's just throw whatever else that we had backed up in our folder. Like, that's what it literally looks like for season 6, where whatever we couldn't fit in the previous seasons, we're gonna drop it in season 6, being that it might be the last season. And then when you look at the Warzone side, I originally trashed the 2 modes of being the Zombie Royale and Purgatory, but I'm going to talk about later about how both of these modes are actually made very good and it's very beneficial to Season 6, and I feel like that itself is going to carry Season 6 all the way into the end of the game cycle. And another thing that I'm going to backpedal on is the fact that they only brought in 2 new weapons for Season 6. But to be honest, for the 2 new weapons that they brought for season 6 is actually pretty fun. The DTI R30-06 battle rifle and then the cast off LSW LMG. Now, if you haven't tried the weapons yet, please do, guys, because the DTI I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but it literally, I promise you, it literally has little to zero recoil. And that thing hits like a rock. And you can tell that new battle rifle was kind of OP because literally 1 day after season release date, they already released a patch where it reduced the range of the battle rifle. Because when you look at the stats for the battle rifle, it is really great. Before the nerf, it had great range, it had a great damage profile, the recoil was beautiful, the highest velocity. The only thing that it didn't rank as well in was probably going to be the fire rate, because the fire rate is, I think, second to the slowest fire rate, and that's the only reason why the DTR battle rifle wouldn't have been meta. But I've been playing Warzone for the past couple of days, and all I see is that DTR battle rifle, so I don't know, it could be another DMR 14 zone again. And then don't get me started with the cast off LSW. Now, overall, it's a fun LMG. Now, like, to be honest, that's all I really use for, because the attachments that can be used on the cast off LSW, I tried looking for the attachments in the other LMGs, but it's not there, because these attachments that are exclusive to the cast off really focuses on tac stance spread and tac stance build. So when you focus a tac stance build on the cast off LSW, you're gonna have hella fun with it. But enough of me going off a tangent trying to talk about everything in season 6 in under 10 minutes. Let's go to the main important stuff about season 6, which is the weapon patch updates. Now, from the main thing, the overall of the weapon patch updates, we can see that the STG-44 has been nerfed. And to be honest, when you look at all the other weapon changes for season 6, I wouldn't say there's no meta anymore, but now there's actual viable options for different types of weapons. Like, they finally achieved weapon balance, and what kind of sucks is they finally achieved weapon balance in season 6 at the end of the game's life cycle. Now we're gonna have Black Ops 6 coming around the corner, and now it's gonna be a whole nother changes of trying to adapt not only MW2, not only MW3, but also Black Ops 6 weapons. Alright, so starting with the assault rifles, we got the BP-50 that has received a damage range buff. We got the Holger 556 damage range buff, MCW damage range buff, MTZ 556 damage modifier buff. The STG-44 has received a damage range, damage modifier nerf. The SVA 545 has a damage range buff. The M13C has a sprint to fire buff. The M16 damage range conversion kit has received a buff, and the MW2's TR76 has a aim down sight speed buff. And then moving over to the SMGs, we got the AMR9 receiving a damage range and damage modifier buff. We got the HRM9 receiving a damage range and damage modifier buff. And then we got the RAM9 that's received a damage range buff. And it looks like for the MW2 battle rifles, all of them has received a horizontal and vertical buff as well as an aim stability buff. I'm not too sure why they did that. Maybe it's to have, you know, a bit more balance with the old MW2 battle rifles having a fighting chance with the rest of the weapon. And then the last weapon change is the RAL LMG. That one has received a damage modifier nerf. So when you look at the overall weapon patch updates, it looks like the only major thing is the STG-44 being knocked off its high horse, and a lot of the assault rifles has received a damage range buff. I think the only assault rifle that kind of stuck out with in regards to a change is the MTZ-556, which is a damage modifier buff. But the thing is, it's a damage modifier buff on the headshots. So, you know, with the MTZ-556, maybe if you can hit headies and it's easier to hit headies with the MTZ-556, I could see it being meta, but because they only did a damage modifier buff for the head, honestly, it might still just be a balanced weapon with the rest of the assault rifles. So what I'm thinking is, why in Season 6 would they buff the damage ranges for all the assault rifles and SMGs? It makes me question, it makes me wonder why. The only thing I can guess as to why they want to do that is they want to try to limit close range fights. They want to make these weapons viable for longer ranges. So what I'm guessing is, okay, a lot of people are being frustrated or maybe not able to keep up with close range fights, that if they can give our long range players a little bit more of an advantage where we can laser the close range demons before they get to them, I think that's the reason why they want to make this balance. But the thing is, if you're playing a mode like Resurgence is everything is close range in Resurgence. I don't necessarily understand how the damage range buff could do that. Maybe the big BR for sure because it's a long range map, but not Resurgence. Alright, moving on to the two new game modes now. One game mode is a limited time mode. It's called Purgatory. Now, I really hope that they keep Purgatory as a permanent playlist, because I feel like what Purgatory does is it did everything that would have made Plunder Quads or any Plunder mode in general such a great mode to do. Because with Purgatory, it's essentially a 2-hour long match. You have infinite respawns, you have a team of 4, and during this time you can actually farm so much XP. You can actually go against enemies where, say, if you have a certain rival, you ever had that moment in the old OG lobbies where you have that one enemy player that you always keep fighting against, like that's your arch rival, like, oh, I'm gonna kill you next round, oh, he's gonna kill me next round. I feel like Purgatory was such a good mode to do that, because with proxy chat and with it being how long you're actually in there, you're gonna eventually find that one player that is always killing you, and you're going to be always killing that player, and that increases the rivalry. And I had that experience, and I had that moment in Purgatory, and it was so fun because it was the most competitive slash non-toxic way to fight against players, because of the proxy chat, right? You know, I would say, oh, you know what, what's up, bro? What's up, bro? I got you again. I killed you again. I wiped your squad again. And sometimes he would kill me. And it was just such friendly banter that, you know, it was honestly fun to play in Purgatory. And then what's also good about Purgatory is that they have these domes where if you just wanted to take a break, if you just wanted to talk with people in the map, there's these domes that put you in third person, and you can actually go to them and do a thing called commend, where when you commend them and you press a button, it commends the player, thus giving you experience. So people could honestly just keep spamming the commend button in that friendly dome to kind of farm XP. But to be honest, like with the amount of XP that you get per time that you commend, you probably have a better time just playing in the map itself, getting kills, doing objectives, things like that. And then the other mode, we got the Zombie Royale Hellspawn. Now, if you guys were in the Verdansk era, and the very first Halloween event where they did zombies, it was so fun. It was honestly more fun than you being a spirit, you being a ghost. Like, if they always did the Halloween event with zombies only, I'm totally fine with that. I don't care if they do the whole spirits thing. I think zombies was the best, and they did it again with this mode. But it's crazy because now it's on a small map. The Zombie Royales back then was on Verdansk. Verdansk was a big map, but the Zombie Royale, it created the fast pace of Resurgence, but with a Zombie Royale Hellspawn. Now, would I want this mode to be permanent? No, not necessarily. I mean, if it does, great, but if they take it away, it's not going to be the end of the world. I think in regards to Warzone, Activision, regardless of its ups and downs, has still made the Halloween event time still fairly fun to play. Even though it's kind of getting close to the end of the season, and it's weird that they finally make all these good changes. But at the end of the game's life cycle, it's like, okay, we finally perfected MW3, guys. All right, let's start playing Black Ops 6. Like, and everything on MW3 gets put on the back burner. Like, okay, great. We finally have a balanced weapon system. We finally have fun game modes. Like, MW3 is actually enjoyable. But now we have to transition over into Black Ops 6. But that is my 2 cents and my update on Season 6. I originally trashed Season 6, but after playing it, after using the weapons, after playing the modes, you know, my only gripe about it was just lack of creativity in regards to the maps and multiplayer side. But other than that, everything else was great. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below.